What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. I'm your host, Chris Raybon, and this is your NFL Week 15 betting preview. Today, we're going to build our Sunday six pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Rough week overall for me, so thanks for carrying with a couple wins. Disappointed you didn't get the Chiefs to come home for us too. You would have got the sweep, but nevertheless, I'm 0-4. So I have just a complete face plant. So I appreciate you putting some wins up there.
I mean, it was just a couple lucky breaks in the week. I haven't getting any breaks the entire season. That's a lot of times what it comes down to. Uh, you get the Rams game was crazy. I mean, Stafford was unbelievable, but get a block punt for a touchdown there, which helped. And then the Giants, I mean, they were outplayed and they had injuries during the game, and I get my first 2-point conversion, and I was 0 of 6 on the six pack on games that were decided by the 2-point conversion.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was the one. The Giants did it to me against the Steelers. It was the worst 2-point conversion play call of all time, and that would have covered. This one might have been even worse. Ball tips up in the air, and Neighbors somehow catches it at the goal line, and the Giants get in the back door. So that was a bit fortunate. And then
And now Tommy DeVito starting next week. Drew Lock is gone. He's out. He's
he did his
vanquished.
job for me. But yeah, that game was ugly. I told you the Giants were due for an interception. I saw you
Oh
bet.
my God! Yeah, I know. I did hit like four other props in that game, and
I
I
saw
had
you.
like
Yeah.
I had a
Were you
Ken
hearing
Gray.
my voice though when Carr threw the pick?
Yeah, I was like, I knew it. This same thing happened to me. Wasn't it in the playoffs with Lamar Jackson? He like threw a pick for the first time. But I will say this: I finally, 8 months later, hit a Gus Edwards rushing carries over against the Chiefs prop. He just is on a different team now.
By half carry,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Oh
Chiefs
man.
was disappointing. I mean, up 13-0. I, I got a good line. There's no McConkey as I thought. But where I was wrong on that game is that Humphreys didn't was I was reading all these glowing reports about how he was going to make a huge difference and how well he looked, but he's been out for so long. He didn't solve anything. I think he allowed 5 or 6 pressures, and then he gets hurt. It was late. It didn't, but that's where I was wrong on that game. But the Chiefs, I mean, it's never going to change. And the black magic this team has, I mean, every
The
single
doink.
week,
A
this
doink in.
team on the last play of the game, something goes their way to win by 2 points. They win every game by 2 points. So yeah, it was a good week. We got some good
Unreal.
breaks. Let's hopefully that can continue, and hopefully I can get hot the rest of the way.
Yeah. So we'll get into the six pack. We'll start with Thursday Night Football, though, as we always do. And it is a good matchup this week. We have the Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. Talk about being wrong on a game. The Bears just didn't show up. All that good effort just completely vanished, gone. 49ers back to normal. Don't need Trent Williams. But now you're looking at a situation where, and Stuck, I'm really curious to your thoughts on this because the minute I looked at this game, it was like, old habits die young. It was like, bet the Niners, like Niners Rams week, bet the Niners. And the public is all over the Rams. 78% of bets, 79% of money tracked by us in the Action Network app coming in on the Rams here. So, what's your kind of handicap on this game? Given these teams aren't exactly the same ones as the one that just used to kick the Rams' ass every year with Shanahan in that run game, but not completely different either.
Yeah, I mean, 49ers have revenge from a game earlier this season when they were up big and blew the game. Just happened a lot to them last, and I think they were 6.5-point favorites at LA. Not huge home field swings here in this game, but the Rams didn't have Kupp or Nakua in that game, and they came back to win. 49ers were obviously much healthier at the time. This game, I lean 49ers. It looks like they have rallied. And look, they were getting so unlucky. Red zone, close games, blown leads, like you name it. And look who they lost to this year. I mean, they lost to all like playoff teams uh, for the most part. And so it looks like they found something. I need to see the injury report. So I lean 49ers. I make this slightly over a field goal, but uh, Trent Williams, he didn't practice. I mean, they were able to do whatever they wanted
Yeah.
without him last week, but obviously it would help. He's one of the best tackles. Bosa, and then who I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this because this is more your wheelhouse than mine. Garendo, if he doesn't go, and he looked good last week. I thought he ran well in that scheme, had better vision than I've seen from him in the past. If he doesn't play, he's highly questionable, says he wants to play. Then it's down to Patrick Taylor. Like, how much you're down to your fourth string running back? How much of is it his scheme? How much, like, what type of drop off can we expect? Because this Rams defense is trending in the wrong direction. You can run on them. Um, and I thought Purdy looked good. I was worried about his health, but I thought he looked good last week. So I lean 49ers, need more clarity on the injury report. And that Rams offensive explosion last week was kind of coming. Wrote that game up. They were like 23% on third downs the previous three games. They were just running so bad on third downs. It's one of the things that I like to look at, like market perception of certain teams over like a 3 to 4 game stretch. If an offense looks bad or offense looks really good, a lot of times it's late down variance. And the Rams were running as bad as anybody on third downs the previous 3 games. And then they were like, they couldn't miss on a third or fourth down that entire game against the Bills.
Unreal. That was just like
Um,
amazing game. Like that game and the Jets Dolphins game. I don't think I saw a stop in the entire game. Like it's just like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown,
First, I
touchdown.
think the Rams Bills first game in NFL history, both teams scored over 40 with no turnovers. Stafford was like 0.78 EPA per play, which is silly. So yeah, I don't think the offense will look as good this week, but I just need more clarity on the injury report. Lean 49ers. Think the line has moved out to 3, which is where I think it should be. I'm actually a little bit higher, but nothing as of right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really this 49ers team is just tough for me to handicap because like there's certain things like okay, like I'll adjust for Trent Williams, but then who is it? Moore, comes in and he's just doing the same thing and they don't miss a beat. And now, like you said, this Rams defense, it's not great. It could definitely be had, especially and this 49ers team kind of specializes in that. I don't know if I have the numbers in front of me, but I know like Shanahan versus McVay. I do have it. So it's 10-6 now. So he
Yeah,
must
he's
have
covered
caught up some
three.
ground.
McVay's covered 3 straight.
Oh, because he's a comeback, and then I guess what the 2 last year.
Yeah.
Okay, but at one point, I mean, it was like 9-2 or something crazy like that. So it has evened out a little bit. Yeah, 3 straight for McVay, but Shanahan's still covering 10-6, 62.5% by an average of 4.1 points per game. So I mean, I don't know if you take anything from it now that it's been three in a row, but I do think this Niners. I do lean Niners as well, but it's kind of I don't know if it's like a bias though. Is it just our bias from the Niners kind of manhandling them earlier? Because I, I don't I still don't believe this team is at full strength. I know what they did to the Bears last week, but they're just missing so many pieces, and it's like guys haven't practiced. It's a short week, like guys haven't played together as much. So I feel like you could see kind of the floor of this team at any given moment as well. I mean, the Bears obviously just proved not to be a serious football team, so probably no play for me. All right. And regarding the drop off from Garendo to Patrick Taylor, I think they view Patrick Taylor as more of a passing down back. So I would think that the drop off would be somewhat significant only because they probably would mix in like a Keyshawn Vaughn or somebody like that, a Banakanda. He's like they would probably mix in more guys. Debo hasn't been getting anything really going on the ground. So, but I mean, it's still the running game. It's not like major, but I do think I did like the way Garendo was
I'll be
run as
curious to see
well.
what you and Kerner come up with for props because with all the uncertainty there's probably going to be some value to uncover. So keep an eye on the Action Network app. I'll be looking to follow along there.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. All right, let's get into our Week 15 Sunday 6-pack. All right, so as I mentioned, Week 14 we were 2-4. You got the Rams to come through and the Giants on that 2-point conversion. I was 0-3. And what we do here, if you're new, 2 points for our first two picks, a point for the third, point for the total in our next section. And then if you sweep all those, you get an extra point. You made up 3 points on me. So with my goose egg, so it's 46-31 now. So keep that up. You might make another sweat. Like I think it was you overtook me one year. I jumped out to a big lead. I think it was last year, the year before. But you are up first. Where you going?
All right, for my first pick of the week 15 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills plus 2.5 at the Detroit Lions. I haven't put this in the app yet. For what it's worth, I'm waiting to see if it gets three. There's no harm in waiting. Think it might pay for a three here if I can get it on the cheap. But I'll be monitoring it throughout the rest of the week. But still like it at plus 2.5, and it doesn't matter for this contest because pushes don't matter. Uh, I've been waiting for this spot to fade the Lions because I've been waiting for a fully healthy offense with a top tier quarterback to face this defense. They haven't faced one the entire year. And this defense with their single high aggressive man is ripe to get picked apart. And Josh Allen indoors is the quarterback to do just that. I mean, we talk about Goff indoors. This Bills offense indoors is a monster, and they should get Kincaid and Coleman back.
Yeah,
Allen, by
Coleman
the way, is
practicing in
not.
full. Coleman
Yeah.
practicing. Yeah.
Yep. Allen 9-2-1 against the spread indoors. That includes the loss last week. 81.8%, covering by 10 points per game. Lions defense still dealing with injuries. And then from a matchup perspective, Bills play a ton of zone, don't blitz. That's what you want to do against this Lions offense. Look, Lions are going to have success moving the ball. They do every week. They're going to have success running the ball. Bills' run defense isn't particularly strong, but that's what you want to do. Bend, don't break here, get stops in the red zone. And on the other side, the Lions with this man coverage, Allen, they struggle with mobile quarterbacks. Allen's going to be able to use his legs. He's going to be able to beat him downfield. There's going to be explosive plays galore for this Bills offense. And I just think this is the peak of the market on the Lions with one loss on the year. Like, like I said, what elite quarterback have they faced this year? And I mean, and then you got to remember they're 6-1 against the spread in one possession games. I think they have their blowout wins stick out in everyone's mind. They blew out Mac Jones, Mason Rudolph, and Anthony Richardson. Uh, So, and with the defensive injuries, the matchup for both teams, I think they're vulnerable here. I think this is a true coin flip game. Last team with the ball, I'll happily take the points here. I think the Bills are going to win. That's my gut feel. Allen, by the way, is an underdog or favorite of less than 3 points, 27, 14, and 2 against the spread, 66%, covering by 5 points per game, 18, 8, and 2 away from home in that situation, near 70%. And then just to speak to like, this the time you want to fade these teams that are, have one or two losses this late in the year? Teams with a win percentage north of 90% in the month of December, 21, 48, and 2 against the spread since 2003, 30%, failing to cover by 3.5 points per game. Teams averaging more than 28 points per game with a win percentage of over 90% in the month of December, 8, 31, and 2, 20.5% against the spread. I love this matchup for the Bills offense. I like it for the defense. I think Goff is going to make a mistake or two. And I don't see this Lions defense getting any stops. Give me Buffalo on the road to bounce back after that loss last week.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like if the Super Bowl was Lions Bills, wouldn't you make the Bills a slight favorite? Just because of the
Uh,
quarterback play, like because like it's like they both have just these really good teams, sound all around, but
I
one
would,
one
yeah. The
quarterback can
market
move.
wouldn't.
One,
The
yeah, no,
market,
I'm not saying the market. I'm saying like you personally.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
I make
agree.
this game a coin flip. So yeah, I would, and the Lions also have defensive injuries. You have to keep in mind. The Bills could be down Douglas. He's having a down year, which matters some. But the Lions are extremely beat up, and but I just like the schematic matchup as well. And yeah, I think the Bills right now are the better team.
Yeah, I mean it's Josh Allen as a dog. It's not really even a, it's not even that hard. It's not that hard of a sell, really. It's how often do you get Josh Allen as a dog? And like you said,
Indoors, the Bills are
indoors.
better.
Yeah.
They're better in indoor. They're a better indoor team.
I mean, yeah, they haven't, and they really haven't been playing with their full deck. They're very
They're scoring
conservative with
30 plus
injuries.
every week, and they haven't had like
Yeah,
their
half
many of
their
their weapons.
receivers. Like talk
Yeah.
about hard projection. It's like just allocating the snaps to like because Cooper hasn't gone above like 65% yet. Like they still and he got 14 targets, I think, last week or something ridiculous. He was targeted on 14 of 26 routes, still hasn't played a snap rate like over into the 70s yet. It's just yeah, this team is this is talk about a sleeping giant. Like I mean, everyone knows what Buffalo is, but I feel like because they just do the same thing in the playoffs every year, they're kind of getting looked over now. But Buffalo, that's the team that you want to beat Detroit because they can do what Detroit does, but their quarterback can move better. And he's not Jalen Hurts, who that brings me to my first pick in the second overall of the week 15 Sunday six pack. Going the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 5.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. Haven't bet this yet. I don't think it'll get to 6, but it's at 5.5. So might as well hold out. So I thought I wanted to fade the Steelers, and I still do in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, this Eagles team, remember last year, completely different coordinator, completely different offense. They went 10-1, right? They 11 games, and then all hell breaks loose. This year, they go 9-2. The 10th game was against Baltimore, and they win it, so it was like no problem. But if you look deeper, it was a little shaky. They were outgained 372 to 252. A couple missed field goals, missed 2 point for the Ravens. Called it a lucky win. All right. Then they host Carolina and they get outgained again. And they only win because Carolina drops a pass. Like their rookie receiver drops like his 5th pass of the game. I think Philadelphia against this Pittsburgh defense has issues. And I know people are going to kind of be scared off because George Pickens isn't going to play, which I don't expect him to. But this Pittsburgh team, remember, this week, they have time to prepare for Pickens being out. They didn't have that last week. And if there's one thing Arthur Smith is actually good at, it's building an offense around and feeding like your non-star players and getting production out of them. Like, remember, everyone was mad in fantasy because it wasn't feeding Bijan, it wasn't feeding Pitts, all those guys. So I'm actually not as worried about the Steeler offense. I know they came out really slow against Cleveland, but I think that Pickens, news hit him on a Friday that you already have the install. It's really tough. It's kind of like a starting quarterback who gets like last second, put into the lineup. So, they made it work. I thought Jaylen Warren looked good out there. They still have a bunch of receivers. They have 4 tight ends that they can use. So, I just really don't think this Eagle offense is in the right state yet again. I think that they're kind of protecting Jalen Hurts, and obviously, Barkley's amazing, but the Steelers, top 5 in adjusted line yards, top 5 in second level yards allowed, number 8 in stuff rate. So they're pretty good against the run out of the backfield. And what do we always talk about with this Steeler D? They're really good against mobile quarterbacks. They play Lamar twice a year. Jaden Daniels in that matchup, 17 of 34, 50% completion when he was completing like 70, 80 every game, 5 yards rushing. Lamar Jackson, 16 of 33. This guy's playing like MVP, barely misses a pass. Can't complete half against the Steelers. Only 4 carries the whole game, 46 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So it's going to be ugly, but Jalen Hurts was pressured 46% of the time. Like he's getting pressured a ton, even with that line, and he's not good under pressure. Just 5.1 yards per attempt, 46% completion rate, a 47 PFF grade, which is 34th. So I just think the Steeler defense that doesn't even need to really blitz to get pressure is going to cause a lot of problems for this offense. And when ugly, the offense will find a way to get it done. I mean, without Pickens, you kind of half of the Eagles' strength on defense is kind of wasted anyway. So and Carolina with Tommy Tremble and Leggett was going up and down the field. So and Wilson is the lowest turnover worthy throw rate. So Pittsburgh here, good bet to win the at least a decent bet to win the turnover battle, which that just doesn't happen against Philadelphia. That's how Philadelphia's been cruising, even with some, clear, under the surface level, issues on their offense. So Give me the Steelers plus 5.5 here. Tomlin is a dog, 62 and 31, 67%. 5-0 this season against the spread. Against the NFC as a dog, 17 and 9, 65%. As a dog against a team with a better record, 31 and 11, 74% against the spread. As a dog by between a field goal and a touchdown, aka 3 to 7 points, 36 and 14, 72%.
Haven't they won all 5 games as an underdog this year?
Yeah. They'll probably be my money line dog too. I was gonna do a different team, but yeah, I think there's something to this with it because I'm watching that over and over, and it's. I mean, at one point, Hurts slid like into a sack. Like he's got no confidence right now or he doesn't know what's going. Like he's not processing the whole field as he really never has, as he never really has. But the Steelers are like a defense who can actually exploit it because you have Highsmith back. You have Watt. You have Hayward. Like those guys are going to get after it, and they don't even need to blitz. So they're going to have guys, back in coverage as well. So on the surface, yeah, it looks tough without Pickens, but Russell Wilson's been playing really well. Arthur Smith been coaching really well. I think the Steelers at least get the cover, if not the win.
I'll spoil my total. I don't really have a feel on the side. I'm going to go under, which kind of aligns with the dog. Usually these Tomlin under spots go under as well. And because I am worried about the Steelers offense, I get some of your points, but Russ has been such a deep ball merchant. I mean, last week the offense did not look great without the deep ball. And the Eagles are the number one defense in the NFL against deep throws. But I do think that the Steelers defense will have success. They can battle with Barkley. Neither of these teams are particularly fast. I think both are going to run a ton. Clock will be bleeding. You'll have, if the Eagles get up, they're so good at just running the game away late with like an 8-9 minute drive. And then you'll have the Steelers, Tomlin in a dog spot. He's going to play conservative. He's going to lean on his special teams. He's going to lean on his defense, play field position. So I think this profiles as a lower scoring game. So I'll spoil my total. I like under 42.5.
Yeah, I was one note on that. I'm thinking about that one too. Any thoughts on because the one thing I am seeing and it does make sense is they're saying Philadelphia one thing they did have success with in that last game was tempo. So I know they're talking about like maybe increasing that, and then same thing with the Steelers. They're saying they might. Now I don't think they'll have success, but I mean, how much is that? Like, can that hurt? Can that hurt the total? Like if they're just both inefficiently running no huddle.
Yeah, for sure. But just the way that I mean, it might make sense for the Eagles to do it to kind of neutralize some of the pass rush. I don't envision the Steelers doing it in this spot. I think that they might in other spots, but without Pickens, you're an underdog on the road. I can't see them going faster. So yeah, that wouldn't be ideal if both pick up the pace, but risk I'm willing to take here.
Are we going next?
All right, for my second pick and the third overall of the Week 15 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers -2.5. So -2.5, -120 out there. I'd go up to -125. I need under 3 here, even if it's up to -125. Panthers quietly covered 5 in a row. This team's playing really well. There's so many bottom feeders in the NFL this year, more than I can remember. This is one that you can trust. Just watch them. They're still trying. They're still having fun. I mean, the other teams are trying, but they're just so bad. This team looks like they're enjoying themselves out there. I mean, if you think about it, over the last 3 weeks, they should have beat the Bucks. They dropped pass away from beating the Eagles, and they lose in the last second against the Chiefs. 5-0 against the spread over the past 5. I still think they're a bit undervalued. Now, if this gets to 3.5, that's no longer the case. 3 obviously is a huge number. But this is a horrible spot for the Cowboys. Short week on the road after your season was ended. Like they had an outside playoff shot, lose that game in heartbreaking fashion. Like just look at the way they walked off the field. Now in a short week, you're going on the road to play Carolina. I could see them being super flat. Cowboys also can't really run the ball. Been a bit better of late.
Yeah, I would give them credit for that. I think they found something in the kid Dowdle.
They have, but they played the Giants. They played the Giants, the Bengals, they played really bad defenses. Now the Panthers aren't a good defense either. The Cowboys might have success running, but it's not an elite rush offense. And the Panthers, what they make you do is efficiently pass the ball down the field through the air. And Dallas is not that. right now. Rush's been the worst quarterback in the league since taking over. 40th of 40 on PFF. He has 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, but 3 big time throws to 8 turnover-worthy plays. There's been drop picks. He's going to give the ball away into the Carolina zones. I can almost guarantee you that. There's going to be a pick here. And then just look at EPA plus completion percentage over expectations since Rush took over. Bryce Young's 18th. He's basically been Baker Mayfield, plus .088. Rush is 31st out of 32 qualified quarterbacks, negative .030. The only one worse is Drew Lock, negative .034. They're the only two that are in the negative. So he's basically Drew Lock. Dallas D, their strength is pressuring the quarterback. Well, Carolina has one of the best pass protecting offensive lines in the NFL, and Young's been very good under pressure when teams have got it since he came back. Panthers should also be able to move the ball on the ground. Should own the line of scrimmage here against this Cowboys run D. Cowboys also probably without BB. Already lost Zach Martin. You got to reshuffle the interior of the offensive line. BB concussion on a short week. Overshown done as well. This is a horrible spot. Panthers, I think, are playing really well, and their defense is still undervalued. I mean, look at the offenses they played over the past 3 weeks, and they've had a shot to win all 3 games. This is a big step down in class, and because they're just healthier. They were so ravaged by injury earlier in the year, and Bryce Young's playing confident. He's playing well, and I have the I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this exponentially superior quarterback in this matchup with Bryce Young versus Cooper Rush at home in a good spot. I think the Panthers get the win here. Give me Carolina.
Yeah, like I would like
first time favored in 34 games, by the way.
I was about to say the most ironic thing about all of this is they go like 5-0 against the spread, and now you're laying points with them. You finally come back with them. I think you had them a couple of times in that span, but I was gonna say about Cooper Rush, like I totally agree. I was writing up our Monday night preview Bengals Cowboys, and I'm on the under. I'm trying. I'm like, okay, like nobody's gonna want to bet a Bengals over under. Like they went like 60 points, like 5 games in a row. It was just ridiculous. And I'm like, oh wait a minute. I just started looking at all these Cooper Rush stats, and I'm like, I could just throw these out there, and this will be convincing. And so that's what I ended up doing. And lo and behold, he throws a pick in the red zone, cancels out some points, and it cashes by 2.5. So. Yeah, Cooper Rush, not very good. I think we were on him. Or at least I was. What was that game against Washington? Can be competent at times, but just so low. Like he's not doing anything downfield. He's not accurate.
He also is just getting rid of the ball so quick. So the Panthers don't get pressure
without the accuracy. Yeah.
The Panthers don't get pressure, so who cares? He's just dropping back, and then he's going to throw. He's going to make mistakes into the zone, and that's. And I think the Panthers will have success in the ground to set up everything else for Young, who's playing really well right now.
Yeah, no, Young looks like a different quarterback. If you haven't seen him, you just remember the old Bryson, you might want to go throw on some quick YouTube highlights of the last 4 or 5 weeks now since he came back. Really, the last 3 games, especially though, he's throwing just some dimes. He's poised.
Top 5 big time throw rate over the past 4 weeks.
Completing throws in the face of pressure. Like, I mean, I didn't know if we'd ever see that, just given his stature. So yeah, Bryce Young is born.
He fixed his footwork. That was part of it. And then he's also confident. Like he was not confident before, and he just needed some momentum because he would just tuck it in the past, and now he has some confidence back there, and he's going up against the Dallas defense that can be had many ways.
Yeah, I think I pointed that out when I was like half joking, but I remember saying a couple of weeks ago, it's like Bryce Young's out there smiling. He's got confidence now. Like, he's never doing that before. Getting mad at his teammates. Like he didn't have the confidence to yell at his teammates before. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to join you yet. I still hate the idea of laying points with the Panthers, but they are the better team here. They're at home. And
it's a terrible spot for Dallas. I don't know if they show up.
Yeah. Probably that team is. They seem to like McCarthy though, so I don't. It's a weird dynamic with that team. I can't put my finger on it, but all right. So that was your second. For my second pick and the 4th overall of the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack. Oh boy, Going right back to them. This is going to be a sweat. But the Cleveland Browns plus 4.5 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is another one. Let's see where the line ends up. It's actually been coming down, surprisingly. I guess the books took some sharp money on the Browns, but I got to go right back to them here because number one, I thought they got pretty unlucky in that Pittsburgh game. Just I mean, it's not just the turnovers. I mean, they just missed some easy field goals, and then
Gotta have a
they
new kicker
just,
here at least. Jeez.
yeah, they could have. And
I'm
they probably
gonna be
could have.
here. I'm gonna be at this game, by the way.
Oh, no, this is like your
And I have
annual.
money on. I bet the Browns. They would have been one of my three if you didn't
Okay,
take them.
yeah, yes, okay. I'm glad we're on the same page here. I mean, it's ugly, but
Just say Chiefs will win by 2.
yeah, okay, yeah. Chiefs -11 against the Panthers. They win by 3. -13, I think. I don't. It might have been more than that. Against the Raiders, they win by 2. -4 against the Chargers last week. They win by 2. That's their last 3 games. And then, but there's some things I really like about this matchup. First of all, you mentioned Humphreys not practicing, hamstring issue. He gave up 5 pressures on 44 snaps. That's an 11.3% pressure rate. For a starting tackle, you want that to be around 5% tops.
5-6 tops.
5-6, yeah. Replacement level tackles, that's when you're getting to the 9-10%, right? So he was already playing, like you said, very poor, rusty, whatever. Wanya Morris comes in. He's 8 pressures on 48 snaps last week, 16.7%. He's dreadful.
He is so bad.
That's that level of the guy on the Eagles earlier this year. What was it, Fred Johnson? I think it was. Like that
was the premise of my handicap on the Chiefs. I thought Humphreys would help fix that issue because the pressure they allowed off the edge craters their entire offense.
Yeah, and to that point, you got to go. What was it, week 1? I think when they tried out Kingsley Suamataia, the rookie, and they might have to trot him back out there if things don't work out because I mean they're just out of options at this point. They're just grasping for straws, and he's given up a 12% pressure rate this year, which is, it's just all abysmal. And on top of that, Dylan still got Myles Garrett there. I think he forced a fumble last week, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still playing hard, flying off the edge. But you also have this Cleveland defense. You mentioned in your cap of the game last week on Sunday night that one of the reasons you like the Chiefs, because the Chargers tend to be a very zone-heavy defense, and Mahomes can carve that up. Well, against man, it's a little more, touch and go, especially with all the pressure. And Cleveland plays the 4th most man. They played the most man of any team last week. And they did hold Russ Wilson to a season low 158 yards passing, 6.1 per attempt. Mahomes, 7.4 yards per attempt against zone, 6.4 versus man, 0.15 EPA per dropback versus zone, 0.12 versus man. So he takes a bit of a hit. I like, Hopkins more of a zone beater, Kelsey more of a zone beater. You're probably going to have to, target Worthy a ton, and he's still a little green. So
the Chiefs have no explosiveness. That's been the Browns' biggest issue on defense. And the Chiefs,
I mean Worthy. Let's not. I'm not going to disrespect Worthy like that.
I'm just saying their profile statistically. If you look at their explosiveness, they're like dead last in rushing explosiveness, passing explosiveness. So it's not like this is. I mean, they have the potential. But part of that is that Mahomes he can't get time. Because the pocket is collapsing within 5 seconds, within 2 seconds every single, and now you're going up against the Browns team that can get pressure as well as any
45% last week. But despite blitzing only 24% of the time, they got pressure 45% of the time last week. I mean, at one point, I think the Hansen on red zone was like, the story of this game is the Browns defense. Like they weren't allowing anything. So they're capable of showing up. Just need one last, Jameis, just don't throw the pick on the screen, bro. Like the screen, I know you said deliver you from pick sixes. You didn't throw pick 6. But come on, we can't be throwing picks on screens. Like that's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's the only thing I worry about here.
Yeah, he's gonna throw one. Oh, he's like, so I don't know if
but the Chiefs' pass D is completely broken, and then you have another injury in the secondary. I mean, they couldn't. The Chargers had more opportunities downfield last week that they missed. And they were without McConkey. And
Stone Smart, baby. Stone Smart.
Yeah, Disley gets hurt. And they were still moving the ball through the air. Yeah. There was guys wide open. There's coverage busts. Connor shouldn't be in the nickel. Like
Yeah,
there's
he's given up 20 of 23 last 4 games and two penalties and a touch. Like he's just in that when the bigger role is just not they're targeting him. Like they're
this pesty has been horrendous since Watson went down. I mean, it's a problem. And uh
yeah.
the
Jalen
the
Watson, that is, just in case people are confused about the Browns, Deshaun, not Deshaun, but Jalen on the Chiefs, the cornerback.
yeah, and now you have who Josh Williams went down. Like you're in like Nazi Johnson is just horrendous.
Judy's
It's
playing
bad.
his like Judy is. I mean, he needs to go say what up to Steve Smith because he's just lighting it up this year.
Yeah,
So
my
yeah,
biggest thing is the Browns are like an effort team,
yeah, but
and
they're at home against the
so
Chiefs. I
like
would
with the
hope
way that
they,
their schedule is, like they have
yeah,
games where their tackling is so bad, and that's where you
yeah,
see like effort and care show up. If you look at like their best games this year after they, were out of it with Watson, like when they when they hosted Baltimore and won, when they hosted Pittsburgh and won, um, when they went to Philly, thought the effort was there. Now you're getting the one loss Chiefs at home. This this will be an effort game. I think they'll show up.
yeah. I think they want. I think this will probably be their Super Bowl. I mean, they look like they're having fun out there with Jameis. He's the vibes with Jameis are just so much better. But yeah, I mean, with all the he made some mistakes that they still should have probably covered that game. It was just Kadarius Toney then like fumbled. I mean, and they immediately cut
I'm
him. I mean,
sad that they
just
cut Tony. It was a Tony revenge game.
I know. I mean, who needs to see that?
I'm kidding. Very happy he
Yeah.
won't be out there.
But just to put some numbers behind it, I think you mentioned kind of similar trends here, but December dogs in December against favorites that have won at least 9 of their last 10 games, which the Chiefs have. 67 and 42 are the dogs against those teams. 61% against the spread over the last 2 decades. December underdogs against favorites with a winning percentage of 85% or more, 57, 29, and 2. I think that was kind of the one you had. And then Kansas City as the favorite of more than a field goal with Patrick Mahomes since November of 2020, just 19, 37, and 2 against the spread, 34%, including 1 and 7 with one push this year. So 12% this year. And on top of all that, is the luck rankings game for the second week in a row. Cleveland still bottom 5. They're 29th, so the 4th unluckiest in our luck rankings. Kansas City is the luckiest team, obviously. And so that's a gap of 28. Anything 24 or higher, 128, 76, and 6, 62.4% against the closing line since 2018. So didn't work out last week, but these things, when the luck rankings line up, it tends to be pretty profitable. I think the Raiders Chiefs game on Thanksgiving was also a luck rank game. Nobody wanted to touch the Raiders. I think we talked about it. I think you said you needed 13. It must close probably like 13 and a half, 14, and lo and behold. So shout to Dr. Nick and the Action Analytics team. But yeah, luck rankings, Browns, don't deliver me from Jameis. All types of turnovers this week. Just give me the cover, Cleveland. Plus 4.5. Stuck. Where are you going with the third?
All right, for my third pick and the 5th overall, the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers. Let me make sure there's a expensive 2.5 out there still. Yeah, 2.5 minus 120 out there. Buy it up to -2 and minus 125. I'm going with the Chargers here against the Bucks. I personally think the Bucks are the most overrated team in the NFL right now. I know they're 7-6. I mean, can we look at their last 5 wins? Panthers in overtime should have lost. Raiders
I don't want to talk
with
about it. Don't want to talk
yeah,
about it. Don't even
Raiders
want to
last
talk about
week.
it. Don't
The
want to talk about it.
Giants with DeVito, the Saints with Rattler, and the Eagles without all of their receivers and Lane Johnson. That's their last 5 wins. If you go back even further, you get Daniels and Washington, the opener, and his rookie first road start. And then they beat the Lions on the road, which is their one good win they can hang their hat on. They were outgained by like 250 yards, got 7 red zone stops. I don't think this team is good. They've also been very lucky. there's going to be turnovers here, I think, and the Bucks are going to commit them. Baker Mayfield 28 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He has 16 big time throws, 20 turnover worthy plays. Herbert, on the other hand, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, 26 big time throws, 11 turnover worthy plays. The mistakes are coming for Baker against this Chargers zone defense. The Bucks also 21 fumbles on the year. They've lost 5. Opponents are 60% on field goals against them. The Bucks also have been very good in the red zone, which converting touchdowns tends to be high variance. But the Chargers, statistically, they have the best red zone defense. Schematically, they're very good in shrinking the field, using 3 high safety looks and making it very difficult for opposing offenses in the red zone. So I don't think the Bucks are going to have much success there. And if you look from an EPA perspective, Chargers are the best zone offense in the NFL. Bucks, they play man 16% of the time. The only team that plays man less is the Colts at 14%. Oh, and by the way, back to that Bills Lions. The Lions EPA against man is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on offense. The Bills luckily are heavy zone D, but they're and the Lions are like the 7th, 8th best offense against zone. Against man, they are like you have to create they're like it's insane how far above everyone else against man. But the Chargers,
probably because of the Jaguars game. Probably because of the Jaguars played man all game.
Seriously.
And gave up like 84 and then decided to play freaking sit back, just give up nothing. But yeah.
I guess they learned from that game. Let's just not get embarrassed. But from an EPA perspective, Chargers the best zone offense. Herbert is the number 1 quarterback against zone. And they've been below average against man all year. I'm also expecting McConkey back this week. That's huge. Against single high looks, which the Bucks run a lot of. In particular, McConkey is up there with the elite wide receivers in the NFL this year. Herbert also has a great protecting offensive line, great tackles. Bucks are going to blitz a lot. Herbert's fine with that. He can beat the blitz. And the Bucks have injuries on the back end. No Winfield is huge.
Yep.
All their other safeties are banged up. Bucky Irving, who makes a huge difference in offense, not sure if he's going to go. So, on the other side, Chargers are also a zone heavy D. They only run man like 19% of the time. Baker struggled much more against zone this year. So I like the matchup. I like the spot. I think this line should be over a field goal. Like the matchup. Bucks, more injury concerns. I'm assuming McConkey's back. But mistakes are coming for the Bucks. Red zone failures are coming for the Bucks. I think it starts this week. Give me the Chargers to get it done at home.
Yeah, I agree. So this was going to be my 4th if you took one of my 3 that I wanted. And it was funny because I was like preparing for you to like start, diving into writing up some notes on this one and getting them together. And then you took this one. I was like, oh, okay, well, this works out. But no, I agree. I think you nailed it. It's just the scheme difference here. And, and we were, kind of low on the Chargers, these last couple of weeks because they haven't looked good. But this is the matchup for the Chargers here. Ideally, I would love to. I'll probably wait for the final injury report because I do want to. McConkey, not a guarantee. I don't think yet.
He's not. I am counting on him playing. If he doesn't play, Chargers can still win this game. But
they can. They can.
He's at practice going through drills right now. 1 minute ago.
Good. Yeah,
and it's Wednesday.
That's what we need. Yeah, we need McConkey in there because like you already got Disley was catching like 4 balls a game most games. So you just need something. And like the way they're going at running back now, you're not going to get too much. They want those guys to pass protect because you don't want to get Herbert hurt. So you're going to need McConkey in there because if not, it just makes it so much tougher. And Baker always pulls something out of his hat. I mean, he's the one thing I'll say about Baker this year, man. He's some scrambles, man. Like I don't know, like he's out here scrambling these days and like escaping like these. Just like remember that play against the.
But that's not going to work as well against the.
No, it's not because it's just zone. They're looking at him like there's no. Yeah. But it's. I'll give him credit for that. Like that's the part of his game that I think is like okay, it's not the same old Baker, but
yeah, no, that's true. He's definitely playing well, but that's one of the reasons why his numbers are better versus man because of those scrambles.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, when he can kind of use his legs, that's what really unlocks the second gear. But yeah, I think this is a kind of a letdown spot for the Bucks as well. And they're going it's like all the way across. I know Chargers don't have a big home field, but still.
I mean, their last 3 wins have come against the Panthers, Giants, and the Raiders. Like
they got gifted. They got gifted like it was like a pick at the. He throws it right to the O'Connell throws it right to the linebacker at like the 10-yard line. Like and then the next play just next drive just right back off his foot
well, they
in
gifted that fumble by the Panthers. They don't call that touchdown on Thielen. They should
yeah.
have lost that game. But those three teams are some of the worst defenses in the NFL. It's a big step up in class. And like I said, the Bucks, their last 5 wins are jokes. Jokes.
Yeah.
This defense is very vulnerable. Look at what Atlanta's done to them this year, and it's. I think Herbert's gonna have a really big day.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna.
And he doesn't throw picks.
Yeah, no, that's another key. Like it's the Bucks are like they're very likely to lose the turnover battle in this, which makes it a lot tougher. All right. For my third and final pick, the 6th overall of the week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Seahawks +3, -120. I would pay up to 125 for this as well, but it's only what is it? Wednesdays we're recording this, so I would wait. I think I'm guessing the public's going to be on Green Bay, and this is a primetime game, so I'm guessing probably get a decent, maybe not even juice 3 at some point in closer to game time. But I just think Green Bay is overvalued in this spot. Like
There's a 315 out there right now.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fine. Yeah. So, listen, I get it. You know, everyone probably wants to fade Seattle. They're coming off, 4 straight wins. And, 2 of them have been against Arizona, which doesn't really tell you anything. And then they had that weird game against the Jets. But I think there's been some really important developments that have happened with Seattle in the last month or so. That are still flying a little bit under the radar to the point where I make this almost a coin flip game. Like I do have Green Bay power rated better, but not significantly better than the Seahawks here. And Seahawks have one of the better home field advantages. It's pretty light because Green Bay long rest. But Seattle's defense, first 8 weeks of the year, giving up 357 total yards, 148 rushing yards per game. They were 21st in EPA per play. They were 26th against the rush in EPA. Dead last in early down success rate against the run. Well, they have that. Ernest Jones comes over, have that really disastrous first game against the Bills, where I think they lost 31-10. This was not a good game for anyone. But since that game, since week 9, they're giving up just 311 total yards, so drop of about 45, 91.6 rushing yards per game. They're second in EPA per play overall on defense, 5th against the pass, 3rd against the run, 3rd in early down success rate. And that was up from dead last to top 3. And the reason is because they've kind of switched up their whole, linebacking core with Knight, with Jones. And that's allowing them to stop the run with, the 7 guys in the box. And that's allowing their secondary to play better, which is also healthier now. So now you have, the safeties playing at a high level. They're both graded, I think, top 15 in PFF. You got Weatherspoon, you got Woolen playing well. And that's why you're also having success against the pass, because you're able to kind of, sit back a little bit more and not worry about just getting gashed on the ground. So, I mean, we started to see it, and it looked kind of fluky at the time against the Niners, where they didn't really give up much to the Niners offense at all. And, they ended up winning that game 2017 late. And then, they just kind of kept it going since then. And then and that's what you got to do against Green Bay, because Green Bay has turned into a run-first team with Josh Jacobs playing really well, but they're not letting Jordan Love throw it quite as much. Maybe they're worried about the turnovers, but that's also a spot where I think Seattle could win the turnover battle. They've been unlucky in that area, but Jordan Love has a 3.4% turnover worthy throw rate. That's 28th. Geno is 2.1%. That's 8th. I think they have about the same number of picks. So, that's due for some regression. But another reason I like Seattle is because they started running more gap scheme in their run game, and it just seems to have unlocked that like shaky right side of the O-line all of a sudden, and Charbonnet being in there, all of a sudden they can block it up. And Charbonnet's 3.6 yards after contact, it's like top of the league right there. So I think he's actually a better fit for the scheme than Walker. I think the Seattle offense is a little undervalued. I think the Seattle defense is a little undervalued. Green Bay, really good team, but we've seen them go on. They just 4 weeks ago, they beat the Bears by 1 on the road off the coordinator change, and that was a game they should have lost. And then we've seen them have close games against, solid teams all year. I mean, Houston, they beat the Rams by 5. So I think Seattle at home here can get it done. I think Seattle wins this game. I think Packers just a little bit overrated in the market right now, and I think Seattle can at least contain the Packer running game and force Love to put it up, which is gonna get you some completions and some explosives, but also get you some turnovers most likely.
Yeah, I it's unfortunately I've lost 2 straight Seattle unders. There's been a ton of
Yeah.
short fields.
Yeah. Yeah, you got on the right track. I do agree that the defense is playing schematically. It's not just like a matchup. It's like they're actually doing different things that should carry over.
Yeah, not only have they gotten healthier too, like they healthier along the defensive line, changed up their linebackers, healthier along the secondary, and then changed something. It's McDonald, changed some things schematically.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is Kobe Bryant moving in at free safety for Rayshawn Jenkins has made an enormous difference. He was inserted full time there, week 7 or week 8. Massive, massive difference on the back end, allowing McDonald to do more things with his corners. So that's gone a little under the radar as well. So don't mind taking the 3 here. I'll have more
Yeah.
in this game later, though.
Yeah. And to put some numbers to it, teams, Green Bay, I know they're 3-point road favorites, and what I think is, two teams that are not, super far apart. But they're on a streak of scoring 30 plus points, 3 straight games. Teams that do that are 36, 57, and 1, 38.7 against the spread since 2003. So it's another one of these spots where, late in the year, team just looks like it's humming, but tends to be a little bit overrated in the market. So I'll take the Seattle Seahawks at home. That's our 6-pack. Let's see. We got Buffalo. Very good quarterback. This is so we got Josh Allen, Bryce Young, Justin Herbert. I mean, is that
the best I've ever had?
Quality. It's up. It's got to be. I mean, just Allen and Herbert alone. I got kind of the rejects, like the guys that are like just scraping, like kind of reinvented themselves. Russ, Jameis, and Gino. It's kind of like the same guy 3 times, like the veteran reclamation project. So, oh man, yeah, this is gonna be fun. But that's gonna do it for our Week 15 Sunday 6-pack.